Welcome to Beachside Bros. I'm Ken. Damon's on vacation for the holidays down in Miami, so I'm on my own this week in Dublin, Ohio, where my wife's family lives. And one of the things we always have up here for the holidays or any big event is Hungarian cabbage rolls. Full of meat, super good. I got the twang from the sauerkraut, but inevitably at any holiday or big gathering there's a vegan. So we wanted to make sure that we had something for our vegan friends. Jen and I actually eat vegan or vegetarian or pescatarian sometimes, most of the time, and then we go for it on the weekends. So what we're going to do this week is an alternative. We're going to do vegan cabbage rolls. So we got some sauerkraut, we've got lots of chopped vegetables, carrots, zucchinis, onions, celery. We've got some chopped mushrooms here, which are going to be our meat component. And then we've also got a wild rice medley and a little bit of fresh tomatoes and chopped almonds to give our Hungarian cabbage rolls a bite. We're going to bind all that together with some chickpea flour. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So we're ready to get going here. We've got a nice hot pot or hot skillet, and we got a hot pot of cabbage, wilting down our cabbage in here. Jen, can you see the cabbage that I'm pointing at right there? Okay, so I'm gonna get our skillet going. Again, these are our onions, zucchini, carrots, celery, chopped pretty fine, because again, it's gonna be a stuffing in our cabbage leaves. So I got some olive oil in here. That we're just going to saute. I'm going to hit it with a little bit of pepper, and then as it gets going, we'll spread it out, put the garlic in there, and then make sure I'm doing this so you can see me. And I want to make sure you see what we're doing. It's probably going to take a couple of batches, but I want to get some color in these guys and soften them up. I'm not going to saute the mushrooms because it's going to go into like a liquid bath where the rice is going to expand, and those mushrooms I don't want to get mushy. So I want some mushy mushrooms. So let's give these guys a stir. You hear it sizzling up. A little bit of fresh ground on here. And we'll let these guys go. And you know me, I'm not going to do a lot of salt in here. We will add some, but not a lot. We've got vegetable seasoning that we're probably going to put in here as well. That stuff is just loaded with, I think it's got 400 milligrams. Read the side. There are some vegetable and chicken broths and stock that have as little as 35, 40 milligrams of salt. That's plenty. There was one I saw yesterday that had 800 milligrams of salt per serving. A serving is a cup. So you just might as well be like a deer and eating a salt lick. So you don't want that. So again, we're going to get some color on these guys. It's never the same on your stove. And plus, the good thing here is, which is kind of like Damon's, we're using gas, which is nice, instant hot. So I'm going to crank up the heat on these guys. I want to get some color on them. The color is going to give us a little flavor in there and a little texture in our cabbage rolls. And I'm going to do this in 2 batches. So what we can do is as our this guy gets good and soft, I got him on boil. We'll be back with you when we're ready to assemble. So, see you in a second. So we got our sauteed vegetables all done. Jen can probably see them in here. So now we're going to start assembling our stuffing. I'm going to eyeball what would be the meat component, which is these really chopped up portabello mushrooms. And you can kind of give them, I didn't saute these. I didn't want them to get mushy. I really wanted to have some texture in here. So I'm going to go with about that. We don't have a very big cabbage, as you can see in here. And then I'm going to put some, I let this wild rice blend sort of bloom up in the water. I put some hot water in here, so I didn't cook it, but it's been sitting in hot water and hottish water now for about 30 minutes. Again, it's going to cook in the pot. So it doesn't. We just don't want it to be hard when it comes out. That's a trick I learned over there from the lady that's filming over in there that didn't want to be on the camera. So she taught us this yesterday. So again, you're just kind of eyeballing. This is a cup and a half of wild rice that has been bloomed. And I'm just going to look at that. And again, normally this would be meat, and rice is used as a binder. It's going to release the starch, but we don't have, and then it binds with that meat, the fat in the meat, and everything looks good there. But with us, we don't have that, so I'm making it up. I've got some almonds to give it a little bit of tooth, and these are chopped up. I'm going to put a little bit of juice in here. This is that tomato juice. Normally, you're in your Hungarian cabbage rolls, you're going to have tomatoes and tomato sauce. It's actually cooked in tomato sauce. I'm going to use some of that inside. And these were fresh frozen in August of 2020. So packed and frozen at the heat of goodness a year ago. Some more pepper. Gotta have pepper. And I'm going to add a little more garlic. This is raw chopped garlic. It's going to help in here again, give us a little extra flavor. When you're doing vegan type dishes, you can really go crazy on the spices because the vegetables will soak them up. But if you don't use a lot of spices, it'll actually get a little bland on you, especially with this wild rice. So anytime we're adding, we want to add, oh my gosh, the gaffer and the gimbal. And then there'll be a link to the last one. So I'm going to add a little bit of my chickpea. And this was a tablespoon of chickpea flour and 3 tablespoons of water. So we're going to mash this all up. And she's supposed to be over here with me, but that's not happening. All right, can you see that there? I'm going to add the rest of this binder in here. Give him a little stir. And then I'm going to let this set, and that chickpea flour should help bind this stuff together. And we can give it a little test. If it feels like it's falling apart, we may need to add a little more, which I can mix up. And this is kind of, you can see, it's not really staying together, and we want it to stay together while we cook it in our little cabbage roll packet. So I'm going to bloom some more chickpea flour in some water, and then we will come back here shortly and get these guys wrapped up in our little burritos. Okay, so we're ready to stuff our cabbage rolls. We've got a nice round leaf here. We've got our pot ready to go with those old scraggly cabbage roll or cabbage leaves. We put that in the bottom to keep our cabbage rolls from burning, along with a little sauerkraut. John's going to show you that in just a second. So I'm going to go ahead and get this guy stuffed, and you can kind of see, John, and in here that we are going to use, you know, over a full tablespoon in here. You don't want to overdo it, but you want to have a nice round thing, and obviously this is going to vary depending on the size of the leaf. So let's get this guy in here. I'm going to put a little more in there. We'll see how we do. First one's always a guess. So we're going to roll this guy kind of like a burrito. I know my arms are in here, so I'm doing it backwards. So you roll.
You can move back in as long as I'm able to get this.
All right. So you got that, and then you roll him forward. Sorry about that. And you got a nice little package there. It's like I've seen this once or twice. So then you just shove this guy in here, and you just go around the bottom of the pot and fill it up. And then what we'll do is we're going to put some more of that tomato juice that we saw in there. I keep pointing at it on this camera. We're going to fill this guy up. You don't need to be here. They're going to cook at least for about 45 minutes or so to get that rice bloomed. The longer you cook them and let them season, the better they're going to taste. So let's get to stuffing. Our cabbages are ready, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. What we're going to do here is we're going to get our sauce ready to go. We're going to get some seasoning. We have those fresh tomatoes that we are using. A lot of juice. John, maybe I'll bring it over here so you can see it. So those are fresh tomatoes. We're going to pour that over top of our cabbage rolls. But we want to season it a little bit first. Anytime we can add seasoning, we want to do that. So we're going to hit it up high with a little bit of ground pepper. We keep talking about Hungarian. Here's our Hungarian part. This is, something just fell off. This is a hot or spicy Hungarian paprika. I'm going to add a goodly portion of that. Well, it's about whatever that is, half a teaspoon, probably a teaspoon. All right, get this guy out of the way. Put him over here. I'm going to add another little hit of heat with some red pepper flakes. Not a lot, because some folks don't like a lot of heat. I don't mind a little bit of heat. I don't like a lot of heat when I'm eating. We do have some stuff to help cool it down. So we don't have a lid here. So we didn't want to pull a Damon catastrophe here. So I'm going to use the lid for a little bit of oregano. And I'm going to go with that's about a half a teaspoon of oregano. And then a little bit of garlic. And this will bloom as it cooks. So we've got garlic everywhere in here, but as it cooks, this will start to bloom up. And let's just give this guy a little stir. Well, that's pretty good. We don't have to go crazy about it. It's going to boil in the pot, so it should get around everything. And let's go ahead, John, I don't know if you want to come around here. You can go ahead and walk behind. The gimbal catastrophe here. You might want to get over it. So let's just pour this guy over top of him. And that's going to sink down. Let's get rid of this guy. And I'm going to hit it with the last part of our sauerkraut. Give it that twang. You saw some of that in there. Let's break that apart. Little big clumps. It's a cabbage fest. And then the last thing I'm going to do here is use up the rest of our portabello mushrooms. Pour that over top. And then here's our salt component. This is vegetarian broth. You always want to look over here. This is the thing you got to worry about, John. Can you see? Sodium. So there was this column right here. You want to read your label, but that sodium row, that's where you know how much salt you're going to be adding. Some of these things, they're notorious. Like I said, the one we looked at yesterday had 800 milligrams of salt per serving, and a serving size is a cup. So that's like taking a teaspoon of salt and just dipping it right in there. So I'm going to add a little bit of this in here. This is probably got a little more salt. You can find them. Like I said, the one that we use has 35, 40 milligrams of salt in it. So we're going to lid this guy up. Put a little more, make sure we get it up to the top. We're going to lid him up and get him on here. We're going to let this guy cook for about 45 minutes to an hour and come back and we'll show you what we did. We've been cooking now for about 45 minutes. We got to actually cook the top part a little bit more, but we're ready to eat, so it's time to get it going. Get that guy in the sink. Let's pull one of these guys out. Hopefully they didn't unravel on me. This guy looks like he is still together. Nice. Hold together, my friend. Got our fixins. Get that out of John's shot here. I'll just get it over here. So what we have, again, just to refresh, we've got wild rice with mushrooms and zucchini, carrots, onions, and celery. That's our main stuffing, along with portabello mushrooms that are chopped. I'm going to go ahead and top this guy. Again, this is vegan. So one of the things in a normal cabbage roll, you're going to have sour cream. I think my in-laws said that it is mandatory in Hungary that you get sour cream. So we're going to do the same thing, except this time we're going to use the Dallup Lama cashew topping, which is sour and creamy. So let's take this guy off so you can kind of see it. Does look kind of creamy. And let's give it a go and see what we got here. Never tried it, so this is brand new. And we're going to top it with a little bit of chopped onions. And let's give them a saw here. If you wanted to do hot sauce, you definitely could. Looks like we held together pretty nicely. So we still got stuff in there, which is good. I know this is going to be hot AF, so I got my drink here beside me. I want to get a little bit of everything. Make sure we're salt off here. Plastic plate. Let's give it a little taste. Make sure we get some of everything. I've been told I'm not supposed to talk with my mouth full. It's definitely solid. It's got a good earthy flavor. Again, different than what a regular Hungarian cabbage roll would be, but those portabellos give us that meat texture. Let me get that out of your way, John. The Dallup Lama actually has a very sour, creamy flavor to it, and man, and it's light. So you're not going to have all that fat that you would have from the meat and the ham and the sausage. If you wanted to add a sausage flavor in here, you could certainly add fennel seeds, a little bit of celery, you know, and go in a sausage direction. You could take this any direction you want. It's got a nice spice to it, and we did add quite a bit of garlic to it as well. Really good. So recipe will be down at the bottom. There'll be links to other videos. Please try it, comment on it, and again, this cooked for about an hour. The prep time is a little longer than you would normally think, but you are stuffing cabbage rolls. But it's a pretty easy meal to come up with. So happy holidays. We'll be coming up with some new stuff here in January. Hope you guys have a great holiday season. Vegan cabbage rolls. Give it a shot. Oh, like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff.